Not an electric chair. This 1930s health procedure used electric current in water basins to improve circulation. Women at Work, 1915. Women make decoy heads to help spot snipers on the front lines, World War I. Beauties from the 1940s tried to save their skin from burns before sunscreen was invented. There were also brothels in concentration camps, and very often the girls were abused by other women, such as the commandant's wives, simply for pleasure. The first public striptease, held on Wall Street, scandalized the public. It would soon catch on across the globe. Dogs line up for a dose of coca leaf extract for an experiment, Peru, 1950. Feminists holding a poster that reads, "Eve was framed, USA, 1970. A clever reference to the biblical story of the fall, suggesting Eve was unfairly blamed for humanity's sins. 66 years later, this soldier's granddaughter found this photo and was horrified to discover that her grandfather was a fascist who served in a detachment involved in mass killings. Schoolgirls solemnly bid farewell to a kamikaze pilot, Chiron, 1945. At that time in Japan, many aspired to become kamikaze pilots, but only the chosen ones were selected. The dummy of ventriloquist Lester, accused of killing 3 people, USA, 1924. During the performance, 3 elderly women literally died of laughter. The evolution of the women's swimsuit from 1875 to 1927. Mormons imprisoned for polygamy, Utah, 1889. A rare photo of North Korean leader Kim Il-sung showing a tumor on his neck. Photographers were prohibited from photographing the right side of his face. Late 1980s. Liverpool goalkeeper Ray Clements patiently waiting during a match against West Ham while a dog expresses its opinion of his performance. England, 1972. In 1996, American Larry Ruttman threw a boomerang that returned and hit him in the head. Larry sued himself for damages totaling $300,000 and won the case. A Chinese suicide bomber puts on a vest with hand grenades before charging a Japanese tank. Shandong Province, spring 1938. Robert Wadlow, one of the tallest people in history, 1939. When he died, his height was 8 feet 11 inches, weight 438 pounds. Protests. After Ruby Bridges, the first black girl to attend a white school, began her education, 1960. Anonymous nurse, New York, 1940s. A 32-year-old nurse strangled her lover, a doctor, with a silk belt during a BDSM session in an apartment. He had requested asphyxiation, but she overdid it out of jealousy since the doctor was cheating on her. The court ruled it as an accident. Lion bite marks were found on the skeleton of a Roman gladiator. This proves that in ancient Rome, people actually fought lions in arenas. A minute before execution, the harsh realities of war and inhumanity. The British lined up Muslims of India for refusing to fight against the Ottoman Empire, World War I, 1914. Before the signing of Germany's surrender on May 8, 1945, the head of the German delegation, Field Marshal Keitel, seeing French military personnel among those present at the ceremony, was astonished and asked, "What? Did these also defeat us?" East German border guards observed the dispersal of protesters using tear gas on the other side of the Berlin Wall, 1988. U.S. military malaria medicine advertisement during World War II. Papua New Guinea, 1940s. Malaria, spread by a specific type of mosquito. Refugees flee from North Korea to the south on a train as communist troops advance from the north, 1950. Confederate and Union soldiers shaking hands at a Battle of Gettysburg reunion, 1913. Chinese billionaire Liu Han immediately after the death sentence was announced. He had been accepting bribes and promoting relatives and acquaintances to positions of power. Two families of workers from a confectionery factory rent a corner in a room. Russia, 1923. The Lebensborn program operated in the Third Reich. Racially pure women slept with SS officers to produce true Aryans. Over 12 years, 20,000 children were born through this program. A license for prostitution, United Kingdom, 1876. A girl picks up coal that fell from a truck, Dublin, Ireland, 1972. U.S. Air Force planes fly over burning Kuwaiti oil wells, 1991. Aloysia Veit, Hitler's cousin. She ended up in a mental asylum with psychosis. Later, she was sent to a gas chamber as a mentally ill person. According to Nazi ideology, the extermination of mentally ill individuals was meant to improve the mental health of the nation. An artificial tree used by the British Army as an observation point during World War I. The USSR actively fought against religion and alcohol. This photo shows the head of state in 1970. Dr. Fukushi Masaichi is a pathologist who founded a unique collection of tattoos taken from the corpses of Yakuza gang members. Tokyo, 1987. In Moscow, between several hundred and 2,000 to 3,000 people died in the crush at Stalin's funeral. Official figures are classified. Outside the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, after a demonstration against the U.S. military invasion of Lebanon, 1958. Samurai in front of the Sphinx, Egypt, 1864. The starving winter of 1944, a tragedy for the Dutch people. The first case of disqualification of an athlete for doping occurred in 1968. That year, alcohol was found in the blood of pentathlete Hans Gunnar Liljenwall. Nuns at a casino at slot machines, Australia, 1971. Stubby, the most famous war dog of World War I, and the only dog to be promoted to the rank of sergeant. A beluga whale weighing 1,102 pounds, Sea of Azov, 1956. In Texas, a man was killed by a bullet that was shot at him 20 years ago. In 1883, Henry Ziegland was shot at but survived. The bullet only scratched his head and got stuck in a tree. 20 years later, Ziegland decided to remove the tree. By then, it had grown large, so he decided to blow it up with dynamite. The explosion pushed the bullet out of the tree, and it hit Ziegland in the head, killing him instantly. A Gentleman's Set, 1640. Leaders of the countries participating in the World War II as children. Even if you're Winston Churchill, you can't just walk past a kitten. London, 1952. Scouts from Rockaway Camp grow beards in support of Fidel Castro's revolution in Cuba, New Jersey, 1963. An Inuit man warms his wife's feet. Greenland, 1880s. A champagne inspector with a special mask to protect from accidental bottle explosions. California, USA, 1933. Irene Sendler secretly saved 2,500 children during World War II by smuggling them out of a Nazi concentration camp. How erotic comics were viewed in the USA, 1942. Peaky Blinders, members of a gang that terrorized Birmingham, 1903. A Siberian chainmail suit for bear hunting, 1800. The photo shows everything that remained of a person who was sitting on the steps 250 meters from the nuclear explosion. Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. A newspaper seller selling the latest edition, 1939. Churchill poses at the entrance to Hitler's bunker, sitting in his chair. The execution of Amen Guth, the commandant of the Plazov concentration camp. He was the officer who entertained himself by shooting prisoners from the balcony with a sniper rifle. The first known use of biological weapons, the siege of Kaffa in the 14th century. The attacking Tatars catapulted plague-infected corpses into the city, causing an epidemic. It is believed this contributed to the spread of the Black Death in Europe. View of Pearl Harbor, Oahu Island, Hawaii, USA, December 7th, 1941. Protests at the Miss America pageant, 1969. The sign, "All women are beautiful," challenges societal beauty standards. Until 1887, all runners stood at the starting line upright, waiting for the signal to begin running. But one day, American sprinter Cheryl, while walking through a zoo, noticed that kangaroos squat before moving. So, at his first competition, Cheryl took a crouching start. The audience and competitors laughed for a long time, but Cheryl won the race with his unusual start. Australian soldiers captured in a moment of relief after their liberation from Japanese captivity, 1945. Chinese justice. A man is publicly flogged for breaking the law, 1900. A glimpse into historic public punishment systems. The Tree of Death, one of the most infamous places. During World War II, the Nazis hanged partisans from this tree, and later, partisans hung Nazi occupiers here. a prisoner at the Dachau concentration camp during a medical experiment, 1943. Waitress race carrying drinks, New York, 1967. In the psychiatric clinic where I was treated, one man thought he was Napoleon and another San Martin. No one believed me that I was Maradona. Diego Maradona, 1994. A Ukrainian immigrant establishment in New York offering free borscht to celebrate Stalin's death, March 6, 1953. The Republic of South Africa is the world leader in the number of rapes. Every fourth man in this country is a rapist. A woman born in South Africa is more likely to be raped than to learn to read. Looted Inca Cemetery, Peru, 1973. A city nurse discusses contraception with rural women, Iran, 1960s. Workers in 3 links of the anchor chain for the Titanic, 1910. Huge parts were handmade. The size of the ship was record-breaking for its time. A girl, descendant of slaves, lives on a plantation in a primitive hut with newspapers for wallpaper, Alabama, 1937. Japanese samurai respected the practice of shudo, homosexual relationships between a young man and a mature man, believing it taught young men honor, aesthetic sense, and dignity. Love for a woman, conversely, was considered softening for men. Professional silent mourners attended the funerals of any wealthy deceased in Victorian England, 1896. Their duties were simple: to silently and sorrowfully stand at the entrance to the house, holding a staff with a bow. Passers-by seeing the silent mourners would be overcome with the somber atmosphere of the funeral. Horse-drawn combine harvester. A 120-ton silver nugget, British Columbia, 1892. A 23-year-old man who switched from the communists to the side of the South Vietnamese government was captured by the communists and spent a month in a concentration camp where he was deliberately starved. Rich women ignoring a poor woman, illustrating social inequality in the USA, 1943. Reporters who uncovered the Watergate scandal watching Nixon's resignation, 1974. A chilling moment frozen in time, just 2 seconds after the atomic bomb detonated over Nagasaki, Japan, 1945. A psychiatric hospital patient made a straw man in her bed, 1910. The dogs that survived the Titanic sinking. There were 12 dogs on board, but only 3 survived. U.S. delegate displays a Soviet submachine gun captured by American forces in July 1950 at the UN Security Council, accusing the USSR of supplying weapons to North Korea. The blood-stained chair in which U.S. President Abraham Lincoln was sitting when he was shot in the back of the head by John Wilkes Booth over 150 years ago. The original, and slightly terrifying, Ronald McDonald, 1963. Staff of the Disney Film Company during their lunch break, 1961. Conjoined twins, Pip and Flip, Popular circus performers, 1923. Mrs. Dickerson from New York with a 363-pound Black Sea boss she caught, 1901. 5-year-old Warren runs away from his mother to his father, Private Jack Bernard, shouting, "Wait for me, Dad," during the British Columbia Regiment March, October 1st, 1940. 2 childhood friends meet during a strike. One is a striker, the other is a police officer. France, 1972. Native Americans tear down the statue of Christopher Columbus. Mexico, 1994. A German soldier mocking a Jew, 1941. Joseph Stalin smiles after signing the Non-Aggression Pact between Germany and the Soviet Union, 1939. A procedure for removing freckles using dry ice, 1930s. Beauty treatments of the past were often painful and unsafe. Roller coasters first opened at Coney Island in 1884. Injuries and even deaths were recorded due to mechanical failures, derailments, and a complete lack of seatbelts. Miss Italy knocks out Miss Sweden in an international women's boxing match in Stockholm, 1949. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.